As a financial advisor, have you ever been asked the question, where is the best place to put my money? Do you reply by explaining your whole consultation process, among other things, how a person's attitude to risk is an important factor when it comes to investment decisions? Or do you explain the current market rationale and reply with an array of market trends and maybe try to impress with the finer points from the last fund management webinar you listened to? Or do you just cringe and smile and state, there's no single best place, it's all down to individual choice, and maybe encourage a meeting with that person next week? Whatever you do, I bet you don't explain that they are asking the wrong question to the wrong person. My name is Andrew Goodwin, and this week I have a short presentation on shortfall for better client outcomes. Okay, this is presentation number 9, focusing on shortfall, or a deficit of something required or expected. Too little, not enough, didn't quite get there. A shortfall refers to any financial obligation or liability that is greater than the cash on hand required to satisfy the obligation. So shortfall is important. If you're promising something for a client in the future, a date, an amount of money they need to retire with, then you have to make sure it's achieved. Therefore, you must focus on shortfall, not just the performance of the investment. Last week, I spoke about goal setting theory. The fact that someone could have a simple idea of saving. They come to you, you come up with a savings plan. We suggested an ISA. And from that, we want to try and achieve a goal. A goal is important. Not everybody wants a goal, but it's important that the advisors should set one, because it's a goal that sets out the shortfall. And we ended up with this plan. The same idea, plan, goal, underlying graphic is still there, but we've added that the client will invest some money into your recommendation, and what they're trying to achieve is an outcome. As you progress with your clients on your annual reviews, you start to focus on performance. Is the investment growing? Is it doing well? How does it compare to other typical funds in the marketplace or other products in the marketplace? Is it still on track? And that lends us to the other side of the plan towards the goal, which is the progression. How is it progressing? If you focus on progression, then you're focusing on shortfall. Any parents out there who've been on a journey with their children in the back of the car will have heard the children say, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? They're not bothered about how far we've come, what speed the car was doing, when they set off, the time involved. All they want to do innocently is get to the goal point, to the end game, to the outcome, to the end of the journey, to arrive at the destination. They're interested in knowing the shortfall. How long is it going to take us to get there? That's all they're interested in. Once a goal is set and the plan is advised, anything after that is all about the shortfall. For better client outcome, in your annual reviews, talk about shortfall. It's a very easy conversation to have than focusing on details about product performance against market comparisons. If you've ever been on a night out and you're introduced to new people, new friends, and they find out that you're a financial advisor, one of the most common questions that you will get is, oh, you're a financial advisor, so where's the best place to put my money? It's a cringe question. We get it all the time. And as I alluded to in my introduction, there's a variety of ways you can respond to that. The one that I think is the best is this. Well, you're asking the wrong question to the wrong person. It usually startles them. thought you're the financial advisor. Aren't you the right person? No, you should ask yourself, am I saving and investing enough for what I want to achieve? Let us consider this in an example. Let's say you're talking to an individual and you want to express that idea that they're asking the wrong person to the wrong question, and they should be taking a little bit more responsibility. So ask them, how much would you need to live on if you weren't working anymore? So in this example, the answer is £30,000. If you multiply it by 20 to get £600,000, you can tell the individual that you will require £600,000 at 5% to give them their £30,000 income, and ask them how much have they got saved up or invested so far. And the reply in this example is £160,000. So straight away, taking one from the other, you have a shortfall, and you express it to them. You have a shortfall of £440,000. When would you like this money? Would be your next question. So they come back and say, well, 10 years would be good. So using a rule of 72, which I will talk about next week, you know that you can double their money in 10 years if you get 7.2%, which is not out of the way, per year. So you double their savings, £160,000 to £320,000, deduct that from the £600,000 that they will need, and you end up with a projected shortfall of £280,000. So what you're saying to them is that with the money you give me, that £160,000, I can reduce your shortfall to £280,000 purely from performance. But it's not going to be enough to give you your £30,000 a year income. So what are you going to do about it? That's when they go, I don't know. What should I do about it? And you express it to them, where they're going to need to save somewhere in the region of £25,000 a year more in commitment to achieve that target. So what you're doing is creating this joint venture between the advisor and the client to achieve the client's outcome. You work together to achieve it. They put the money in and you invest the money. Just to be clear about this, you're trying to achieve a better client outcome. You're trying to get to a point where this individual can retire. That's their outcome. And they can retire on the £30,000 that they want. And throughout this little exercise, which took a matter of seconds really, a couple of minutes, you've managed to identify a goal, a £600,000 goal. You've managed to identify the client has £160,000 to invest, or is already invested. It might be invested with another financial advisor, and they're willing to bring it over to you because you have identified a shortfall, a £440,000 shortfall. You've said you can reduce that shortfall, knowing that you can double their investment. That's what you're going to target, that's your aim, and their shortfall will be reduced to £280,000 if that performance was true. But you've identified that they also need to commit extra money to this plan. £25,000 to £28,000, if there's no more performance, that's what they will need to commit extra. And that's the key to this. It's a joint venture. They will put more money in and you will manage the shortfall. You will manage with the risk and everything else that goes with it, but also you're managing the client's target point. So let me take this a little bit further. By identifying a shortfall and gaining a further commitment from the client in the future, as well as a commitment of investment today, then the advisor and client are working together, not just 100% advisor. You're making it absolutely clear that the focus is on the shortfall and that client's responsible for investing more money, has clear goals and clear outcomes. If you design this as a partnership, a building together to achieve the client outcome, It will build more confidence in you. So let me turn this idea into real life. This is a snapshot of my mobile phone at 9:20 the other day, and with one thumbprint I was able to access my investments. And this one in particular, this is something I've called the ISA Asset Accumulator. I could have called it Porsche 911 Turbo Fund, but anyway, it's to try and achieve £200,000. That's my target I've set myself. And right at the very top, it tells me at this moment in time, I have £57,000 invested, or rather current money. I'm not interested about what went in. That's the current value, £57,000. That is the purple line you can see in the graph. It's zigzagging up and down as I invest more money and the market values change. The investment goal is the blue line. And between the two, you can visually see that there is a shortfall. And it tells me just at the bottom, you're currently £31,707 behind your goal. Stay on track by closing the gap to the goal. So if I put in £31,707, I'm right back on track to achieve my £200,000 within 10 years. And it gives me a facility at the bottom to either top up my investment. Now, I'm not going to put in £31,000, but I might, for example, say, I'll put that 1,707 in, and I can do that myself. I can click on top up the investment. It takes me through some steps and I invest. Or I could edit the goal and decide maybe I should go for a lower target. Instead of 200,000, maybe I should go for £150,000. What we're doing there is creating added value for the client. The value is in having access to this app, which allows them to monitor their progress by monitoring shortfall. So from an advice point of view, you're trying to achieve a better client outcome. Yes, you're recommending a product, you're recommending the funds, you'll monitor the fund performance against benchmarks, you'll change where necessary to give better performance, you'll continue to monitor the client's risk. But if you focus on shortfall, you're working with the client because that's what they're focusing on. And you provide them an app which gives them a little bit more control over that shortfall. Not only do they get access 24/7, but they can track the performance of their investments and, more importantly, the shortfall. And they can make up that gap whenever they like. They can top up their investment from as little as £1 instantly on the mobile. So it's important that you should set your client goals, because goals will create shortfall and your clients will then have some responsibility in achieving their outcome, not just you. As always, this slide means I've reached the end of that presentation. Please join me next week for presentation number 10, Rule of 72, Time for Investment to Double. Join me next week and on our journey. Thank you. For more information, please go to happyfinancialadvisors.co.uk, or you can go to trulyifa.co.uk and search for an independent financial advisor. Have a conversation with them. If you're thinking of joining, speak to one of our advisors. If you want to invest and save and have a better outcome, speak to one of our advisors. And of course, a lot of this information is in the book, available on Amazon.